Your old or broken phone can let you down, but at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence with a new line on My Plan and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. After all, you don't want your old phone to die on you when you're lost.
Perfect.
Or for your broken phone to glitch at the worst possible time.
Hey, can I get your number? Oh.
Trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad.
I'm Aaron, your host and guide to Wandering Middle-earth, especially for first-time readers of Tolkien's works. Visit ringspodcast.com to find my free downloadable guides for reading the Silmarillion and other works by JRR Tolkien. Now, let's wander. Ponies that miss Rivendell, an insult that backfires, and a lightning storm that's not what it seems, this chapter is packed with more than meets the eye. Today we'll unpack the unexpected ironies hidden in a villain's insult to Strider, explore why even the ponies in Middle-earth have their own stories, and reveal the secret clash happening beyond Frodo's sight. Plus, what does Sam's quick reflex with an apple have to do with Gollum? Stick around, there's more to this journey than you think as we continue our 5-episode exploration of A Knife in the Dark from J.R.R. Tolkien's Fellowship of the Ring. I'm Aaron, your host and guide to Wandering Middle-earth, and this is Lore of the Rings. Now, let's wander. I want to point your attention to something that seems like a tangent in this chapter, but I think it gives some hints as to the narrative style of how this story is recorded and shared. In this part of the chapter, the narrator gives us a small sidebar about the ponies. It seems for a small moment Tolkien realized how many pony casualties his stories have had, starting from Bilbo's journey where ponies fell into a river, and now to Merry's ponies being lost in the chaos around the Prancing Pony Inn. So Tolkien gives the reader a little reassurance here. Merry's ponies, who had carried the hobbits from the Shire, returned to their friend Fatty Lumpkin at Tom Bombadil's house, and since Barleyman is an honest man, he paid Merry what he could for the loss. However, the ponies were brought back to Barleyman and had a good, though working life. It's the last line of this sidebar that I think reveals the true tragedy. Yes, the ponies, quote, missed a dark and dangerous journey, but they never came to Rivendell. It's almost as if the narrator is lamenting the fact that the ponies never got to see the elves, that they were never able to see the beauty and sanctuary that Rivendell had become. In fact, this might be an interesting call-out. Who is the narrator here? Tolkien himself does not always take on the role of omniscient narrator, who knows the whole story. Rather, this note seems like it would be added by Bilbo, or Frodo, or in all likelihood, by Sam. Sam indeed is most associated with the care of the pack animals, and for him the journey was mostly about seeing elves in Rivendell. I can see Frodo writing this passage, sharing a draft with Sam, and Sam giving some feedback like, don't forget to mention that the ponies made it out alright, but they didn't get to see Rivendell. As for leaving Bree, Strider had originally hoped for an early and quiet getaway, relying more on stealth and secrecy, not unlike how the hobbits had left Crickhollow a few days before. But with the delays and challenges, their quiet departure became quite the spectacle. And can you blame the Breelanders? 4 hobbits show up out of nowhere, one of them vanishes and reappears seemingly at will, Black Riders are around, the inn is attacked, and the elusive Strider has joined with the hobbits. It's no wonder that so many people from Bree and the surrounding villages turn out to meet them. For all these reasons, Strider decided to take advantage of the attention as much as possible. His intention is to throw the Black Riders off the trail again. And besides that, if he didn't leave by the road, many of the villagers would have followed them, quote, to prevent them from trespassing. Between the desire to prevent trespassing and the paying for ponies in this chapter, it's clear that the culture of Middle-earth had a strong sense of property rights, something that other conversations have also hinted at. In the goodbye that Frodo gives Barleyman, Frodo shows his manners and politeness, as if he were among the landed gentry of England. Even after everything, the suspicious treatment and the attack, Frodo gives a gracious goodbye to Barleyman Butterbur. As Strider and the hobbits parade through the town towards the gate, we see a little hint of Strider's future. Even now, his presence is commanding, as he is, quote, held in awe by the villagers, and those that catcall are silenced by his mere look. And I mentioned Frodo's class mannerisms, but take a look at Sam, who at this point is still, at least a little bit, considered to be among the working class. He has a pocket full of apples from Nob and Bob, the working class hobbits that work at the inn. But even before they can leave Breeland behind, they have one last encounter with an agent of evil, or at least the malicious and greedy Bill Ferny. Now, there's an insult levied here from Bill that I want to dwell on for a moment. Bill calls Strider, quote, Stick-at-naught Strider. This insult is a bit old-fashioned to our ears, and I asked on threads if anybody knew what that meant, and I've had several different responses. Essentially, it suggests someone who has scruples or won't hesitate to do anything, good or bad, to get what they want. In Bill Ferny's context, it's a jab at Strider's rough, wandering lifestyle and possibly his willingness to take risks without hesitation. Pairing it with Strider makes the insult sound more mocking, as if Aragorn is an unscrupulous drifter who goes wherever or joins whomever he pleases. Historically, the phrase is similar to the older English expression stick at nothing, which was more common in the 19th and early 20th centuries. It described someone ruthless or unscrupulous. I think Tolkien, with his love of language and archaic phrasing, likely adapted it slightly to fit the rustic speech of the Bree folk. So in Middle-earth, Bill Ferny is sneering at Strider as a shady character with no morals. But I find another delicious irony here. Bill Ferny is actually the one who truly fits the description of Stick-at-naught. Ferny has no scruples, he has no principles. He spies for the Black Riders, sells out his neighbors, and tries to profit from both sides. Even the pony he sells the hobbits is half-starved, showing his greed outweighs any sense of decency. Strider, on the other hand, is willing to do whatever it takes, but his actions are driven by duty, honor, and protecting others. So the insult completely backfires when you think about it. Bill Ferny accuses Strider of being morally flexible, yet Strider stands firm in his principles, while Bill Ferny is the one who bends to serve whoever pays him. It's a classic case of a scoundrel projecting his own faults onto someone else. I bet Tolkien, with his love of moral contrasts, intentionally played with that irony, highlighting that true nobility often looks rough and unpolished, while true villainy often hides behind a facade. Just another example of how, quote, all that is gold does not glitter. And in true fairy tale fashion, where the morally bad receive their due consequences, Bill Ferny has a little brush with justice, shall we call it? Sam, using those quick reflexes and accurate throwing skills that hobbits are known for, chucks an apple and hits Bill, quote, square on the nose. Sam laments his own action as, quote, waste of a good apple. I love that. But also the phrasing here calls my attention to another detail. Sam throws the apple, quote, with a sudden flick, quick as lightning. That reminds me of another hobbit-like creature who used to hunt for fish, quote, which he grabbed with his long fingers as quick as thinking. It's a small detail to further connect Gollum with the hobbits, and also set Sam and Gollum up to be foil characters in the future.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
Yeah, sure thing. Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yep.
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
Well, after more than 2 chapters, our hobbits finally leave Bree behind, and with Strider leading their path, they strike out into the wild again, into lands that are entirely unknown to any of the Shire folk. One thing I notice in this chapter is that with every passing mile, the landscape begins to be more and more overwhelming to the hobbits. Not necessarily oppressive, but the hobbits seem to have this feeling of how small and inconsequential they are, and how big and vast the wilderness of Middle-earth is. The first hint of this idea starts nearly right after they leave the road. After a few hours of traveling, quote, they were far beyond the borders of the Breeland, out in the pathless wilderness. And a little further down the page, quote, They spent a miserable day in this lonely and unpleasant country. It's this idea of just how wide and overwhelming Middle-earth can be, and how lonely one can feel in the expanse, that impressed my mind all those years ago when I first read The Lord of the Rings. Even just a few chapters in, this world felt so big, and the hobbits felt so small, even alongside Strider, a ranger who has explored and knows the lands. The hobbits just have no idea how big the world is, and neither do we as readers, especially the first time we read it. This sense of vastness adds to the gravitas and the verisimilitude of the story, and this chapter, more than any other before it, begins to cement this idea. I'll point out a few more overwhelming moments as we explore the rest of the chapter in future episodes. But just a few more moments here before we close out today. Let's call out a movie line. As the company passes through the swampy Midgewater marshes, Sam says, quote, "What do they live on when they can't get hobbit?" A complaint that is shared by Mary in the film. And here's a foreshadowing scene from the book that the film timeline could not provide. One night, Frodo looks to the east where, quote, "a light flashed and faded many times." Not even Strider can say what it is, but describes it as, quote, "lightning that leaps up from the hilltops." Now, spoiler alert, so skip ahead to the end if you don't want to hear the explanation. And honestly, I hope you've read this entire chapter before you come listen to me talk about it. Really, you need to go read Tolkien for yourself. Anyway, here's the spoiler. We will see later in the chapter that the light flashing is likely Gandalf fighting the Black Riders on Weathertop. We'll examine the evidence of that fight in a future episode, but for today, just think about this. Frodo and Strider have just left Bree a few days ago. Black Riders were in Bree, and we know some were at the Shire, but we do not know where they are now, as they've gone out into the wilderness following Strider's lead. Quote, whether because of Strider's skill or for some other reason, they saw no sign or heard no sound of any other living thing. What we do not see as readers is the intricate cat and mouse game that is unfolding all around the Ringbearer. Let's go back to the Tale of Years in Appendix B to illustrate what I mean. On the entry of September 30th, we read this, quote, Frodo leaves Bree. Gandalf comes to Crickhollow and reaches Bree at night. That's right, Frodo and Strider leave Bree mere hours before Gandalf arrives there. Imagine the conversation that Gandalf would have had with Barleyman. Why didn't you send the letter? Poor Barleyman, he just can't catch a break. And as the company passes through the swamp and the wilderness, they are bypassed by Gandalf, who, on October 3rd, quote, is attacked at night on Weathertop. So the Black Riders, Gandalf, and others, as we shall see, are all on a desperate search to find Frodo and the ring. Frodo's journey through the wilderness is shaped by a growing awareness that he is alone and hunted, though the full scope of this pursuit remains hidden from him. The vast, untamed landscape stretches out in all directions, emphasizing his isolation and the enormity of the task before him. In this wilderness, where the known world fades into untamed expanses, the unseen chase becomes as much a test of Frodo's courage and endurance as the road itself. Thank you to this episode's executive producer, The Old One. If you would like to support the Lore of the Rings podcast, visit ringspodcast.com/member. If you found today's wandering of Middle-earth to be inspiring, please share this episode with a friend. Lastly, if you would like to connect with me, I am most active on Threads. Find a link to my profile at ringspodcast.com and tap the @ symbol near the top. And thank you for wandering Middle-earth with me today.
What is... Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all, so we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
Are you ready to dive deeper into Tolkien's world? If you've ever struggled to read the Silmarillion, I've got just the thing for you. I've created a free guide packed with my best tips to help you conquer this epic book. Whether you're a seasoned reader or tackling it for the first time, this guide will make your journey through the first age of Middle-earth more rewarding than ever. Head over to ringspodcast.com to download your free guide today. Your adventure deeper into Middle-earth starts now. Visit ringspodcast.com today for your free guide.